Before you scroll, listen. This message is not loud. It won't demand your attention. But if you've been tired in a way sleep doesn't fix, if you've been strong for so long that even God feels quiet, then stay. Because this isn't about motivation. It's about what God has been doing while you thought nothing was happening. There's a version of you that very few people ever met. The one who smiled in public and collapsed in private. The one who kept showing up even when your heart was heavy. The one who didn't quit. Not because you weren't tired, but because you didn't know how to give up on what God placed inside you. That version of you matters more than you realize. God didn't measure your progress by visible success. He measured it by faithfulness under pressure. Every time you chose patience when you could have exploded. Every time you walked away instead of proving your point. Every time you prayed without feeling heard. Those moments didn't disappear. They said something about your spirit. You weren't overlooked. You were being trusted with endurance. And that's why your journey feels heavier than others. Because God doesn't give deep assignments to shallow hearts. At some point, you probably asked yourself a painful question. God, if you're with me, why does this feel so lonely? And here's the truth no one says gently enough. Silence does not mean absence. God goes quiet when He's building something inside you, not around you. If He answered every prayer instantly, you would rely on results. But because He waited, you learned discernment. Because He delayed, you learned restraint. Because He didn't rush, you learned how to stand without applause. You weren't being ignored. You were being trained. That season where nothing changed on the outside. That's where your spiritual spine formed. And now, you don't beg for clarity anymore. You listen. That's growth. Listen to me. I saw every moment when you had the right to become bitter and chose not to. I saw the anger rise in you, the pain tighten your chest, the thoughts telling you to harden your heart just to survive. And yet, you didn't. You felt everything, but you didn't let it poison you. You were wounded, but you didn't turn cruel. You were disappointed, but you didn't abandon who you were becoming. That mattered more than you know, because bitterness would have blocked what I was preparing. Resentment would have narrowed your spirit. But you kept your heart open, even when it hurt. That is not weakness. That is strength refined by fire. I trust hearts like yours. There's a reason you never fully fit in. And it wasn't because something was wrong with you. It's because I was shaping you for something different. You couldn't celebrate what others chased. You couldn't pretend forever. You couldn't silence that inner discomfort, no matter how hard you tried. That wasn't confusion. That was discernment growing. I allowed certain people to walk away. I closed doors you were emotionally attached to. I made some paths uncomfortable on purpose, not to hurt you, but to protect what I placed inside you. Where you're going next requires clarity, not conformity. Depth, not noise. Truth, not performance. And you needed to learn that before I moved you forward. I know the loneliness you don't talk about. The quiet kind. The kind where people are around but you still feel unseen. The kind where explaining yourself feels heavier than staying silent. I didn't abandon you there. I met you there. That season stripped away your dependence on approval. It taught you how to sit with your own thoughts without running. It forced you to hear my voice, because there was no one else left to lean on. And slowly, you became rooted. You stopped asking, "Why don't they understand me?" and started asking, "Who am I becoming?" That question changed everything. Because when you learn how to stand without collapsing, you're no longer controlled by who stays or who leaves. I needed you strong enough to walk forward without dragging the past. The shift didn't begin when life got easier. It began when you surrendered internally. You stopped forcing answers. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped arguing with reality, and without realizing it, you trusted me, quietly. That's when peace started arriving without explanation. That's when your reactions softened. That's when your intuition sharpened. You weren't desperate anymore. You were grounded, and grounded hearts attract alignment. That's why things are starting to move now. Slowly, steadily, without chaos. I don't rush what's finally ready. For a long time, survival was your language. Receiving felt unfamiliar. Joy felt suspicious. Ease felt temporary. But this season isn't asking you to brace for impact. It's asking you to open your hands. You don't have to suffer to deserve good things. You don't have to prove your pain to validate your blessings. Grace doesn't require exhaustion. I'm teaching you how to receive without fear, how to accept goodness without waiting for the cost. You are not losing your edge. You're gaining peace. People feel something when you enter a room. Not because you're loud, but because you're steady. You speak less, but with intention. You move slower, but with clarity. You no longer chase energy that feels off. That's not ego. That's discernment. You're not above anyone. You've just stopped shrinking beneath yourself. This is what spiritual maturity looks like. Make this longer. The reward isn't just what's coming. It's who you became while waiting. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening inside you. Your body learned calm. Not forced calm, real calm. The kind that doesn't disappear when life gets loud. You don't live braced for impact anymore. You don't move from panic or pressure. You pause, you discern, you listen. That clarity didn't come from ease. It came from endurance, from watching what drained you, from walking away from what cost you peace, from learning the difference between attraction and alignment. You trust yourself now, and that matters. Because you've seen yourself choose integrity when no one was watching. You've seen yourself walk away instead of repeating old cycles. You didn't lose time. You gained wisdom, and wisdom protects everything God is about to place in your hands. That's why this season won't overwhelm you. It will fit you, because you didn't just wait. You became ready. You don't need permission anymore. You don't need validation to trust what you know. You don't need to explain your journey to justify your growth. I saw every step, every pause, every restart. This isn't the end of your story. This is the moment your life starts to recognize you. So walk confidently. Choose boldly. Receive what you once prayed for in silence. I was with you then. I am with you now. And I'm not finished.